Have you ever wondered how our understanding of history and social change could be shaped by a single philosophical idea? Enter Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel's dialectical idealism, a concept that fundamentally reshapes our comprehension of societal evolution. Dialectical idealism is a dance of ideas, a ballet of thoughts played out in 3 acts that we will further discuss. The first act being the thesis is an idea, a status quo, if you will, that exists unchallenged. It represents an accepted norm, a collective belief, or a societal standard, yet as Hegel postulates, no thesis exists without its antithesis, which is the second act. The antithesis is the opposition, the contradiction to the thesis. It questions, challenges, and disrupts the established idea, creating a tension between the two. And it's this tension, this conflict between thesis and antithesis, that births the third act in Hegel's philosophical dance, the synthesis. The synthesis is the resolution, the new idea that emerges from the clash between the thesis and antithesis. It is an evolved thought, a reconciled concept that incorporates elements from both the thesis and antithesis, forging a new understanding. Thus, in Hegel's dialectical idealism, we see the world not as a static entity, but a dynamic sphere where ideas are constantly in conflict, evolving and shaping our understanding of history and social change. Every historical event or societal shift can be viewed as a product of this dialectical process of ceaseless interplay between the three. Yet, Hegel's philosophy isn't just about ideas clashing and evolving. It's also about how these ideas shape our perceptions of power, hierarchy, and race. It's about how these ideas have been used and often misused to justify social structures and political systems, leading to some of the most controversial debates in philosophy. It's a fascinating lens to view the world through, but Hegel's philosophy goes deeper. So brace yourself as we dive a little deeper into the mind of Hegel. From the Master-Slave Dialectic to his contentious views on race and colonialism, we'll explore the depths of Hegel's dialectical idealism and its profound implications for understanding our world. Now imagine a world where the power dynamics between individuals are determined by a complex dance of dominance and subservience. Welcome to the world of Hegel's Master-Slave Dialectic. Here, the relationship between the master and the slave is not merely one of physical control, but of psychological manipulation and self-consciousness. This dialectic, according to Hegel, is a process that begins when 2 self-conscious beings encounter each other. They engage in a struggle for recognition, each wanting to assert their individuality and independence. However, this struggle cannot end in mutual recognition because each sees the other as a threat to their selfhood. So, what happens next? One becomes the master, the other the slave. The master is recognized by the slave. However, the slave, in contrast, is not recognized by the master, so one recognizes while the other doesn't. This imbalance of recognition forms the foundation of the master-slave relationship, creating a power dynamic that echoes through society. The master, you see, becomes dependent on the slave for his identity. He needs the slave to labor for him, to affirm his status and power. Yet, paradoxically, the master's dependence on the slave for recognition and labor undermines his own autonomy. The slave, on the other hand, through his labor and the lack of recognition, gains a unique form of self-consciousness. He sees himself through the eyes of the master and through his own. This dual consciousness, as painful as it is, gives the slave a deeper understanding of himself and the world. This dialectic, according to Hegel, is not static. It's a continuous process of self-realization and transformation. The slave, through his labor and consciousness, eventually recognizes his own power and the master's dependence, leading to a reversal of roles. Hegel's master-slave dialectic thus serves as a metaphor for societal power structures and hierarchies. It illuminates the way power is not just about physical control, but also about recognition and self-consciousness. It explains how those in power often depend on those they dominate, and how the oppressed, through their struggles, can gain a unique form of self-understanding and eventually challenge the existing power structures. However, Hegel's dialectic is not without its critics. Some argue that it oversimplifies the complex power dynamics in society and glorifies struggle and suffering. Others point out that it can be interpreted to justify domination and inequality, as it seems to suggest that the oppressed need their oppressors for self-realization. Intriguing, isn't it? Hegel's ideas on power dynamics are thought-provoking, yet they are not without controversy. What if someone told you that race and colonialism could be justified through philosophical reasoning? This is where we find ourselves parked in front of Hegel's views on race and colonialism. Hegel believed that the progression of history was a dialectical process, a constant push and pull between opposing forces that ultimately led to the evolution of human consciousness and society. However, his perspective, while innovative, had controversial implications when applied to the concepts of race and colonialism. Hegel viewed the different races as representing various stages of human development. In his mind, the European race, particularly the Germans, represented the pinnacle of human evolution. Hegel's philosophy suggested that other races, specifically African and Asian societies, were less evolved and thus placed lower in the hierarchy of human development. This perspective can be seen as ethnocentric and imperialistic, and actually downright racist, as it implies a sense of superiority of certain races over others. Hegel's views on colonialism were similarly contentious. He saw colonialism as a necessary step in the march of world history, a tool to spread civilization to less developed societies. Hegel maintained that through colonialism, societies that were stagnant or regressive could be brought into the fold of progress. This viewpoint has been criticized for justifying colonial domination and exploitation, as it utilizes a disguise of civilizing to mask the inherent violence and oppression of colonial practices. Critics of Hegel argue that his philosophy is a reflection of the prevailing Eurocentric views of his time, and that it is problematic to apply his ideas universally. They contend that Hegel's philosophy, when applied to race and colonialism, can serve to reinforce harmful stereotypes and power structures, rather than challenge them. Despite these criticisms, it's important to remember that Hegel's philosophy is a product of its time, and that his ideas on race and colonialism should be viewed in that historical context. While his views are controversial, they provide a valuable insight into the philosophical underpinnings of racial and colonial thought during the 19th century. Hegel's philosophy, as you can see, is a complex web of ideas, some of which are challenging and controversial. But as we continue to grapple with issues of race and colonialism today, engaging with these difficult ideas can help us better understand the roots of these societal challenges and, hopefully, guide us towards more equitable solutions. So what does all of this mean for our understanding of history, society, and power dynamics? We've journeyed through the complex labyrinth of Hegel's dialectical idealism, a philosophical theory that fundamentally changed our perception of historical progress and social change. Hegel's philosophy tells us that history is not a series of random events, but a dialectical process that moves towards greater freedom and self-awareness. We've also unraveled the intricacies of Hegel's Master-Slave Dialectic. This concept, though controversial, offers a profound insight into social hierarchies and power structures. It suggests that the struggle for recognition is at the heart of human relationships, and that true freedom can only be achieved when we recognize the humanity of others. It's a challenging thought, one that forces us to reassess our social interactions and the structures that govern them. Then, we further examined Hegel's views on race and colonialism. Hegel's philosophy, often criticized as ethnocentric and imperialistic, asserts that the other is necessary for self-consciousness. Just to recap, this idea, when applied to race and colonialism, has sparked intense debates. It compels us to question the perception of otherness and its role in shaping our identities and societal norms. In essence, Hegel's philosophy, despite its contentious elements, provides a unique lens through which we can examine historical progress and social change. His theories, complex and controversial, challenge us to think critically about our roles in society, our relationships with others, and the structures that govern our lives. Although Hegel's ideas may not provide definitive answers, they certainly provoke thought and stimulate intellectual curiosity, and that in itself is a testament to the enduring relevance of his philosophy. As always, we thank you for joining us for another episode of Philosophical Flicks. Please, don't forget to hit the like button and ring the notification bell for upcoming videos. And if you have not done so, we encourage you to join the community by subscribing to the channel. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, and until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.